We return 8 guys that had started for us defensively, so there's a lot of those guys haven't skipped a beat. I think there's a lot of continuity and a real knowledge of what we want. So in that regard, I think defenses are probably ahead of offenses at this time of the season. Anyway, for most squads, but I think ours is pretty pronounced in that regard.
Who are some of the guys that are really stars on defense?
Well, you know, we've got a lot of those kids were sophomores, so they're still a relatively young group, but certainly as the season wore on last year, Christian Pearson at the Mike Backer came on and really was solid in the playoffs. He looks even better this year and has put on some size. We get back Thomas Lash, who was injured for the last 4 or 5 games of last year, although he started up to that point as a sophomore, also as a linebacker. Nolan Tooley at one of our defensive end spots is started for us, I think, every game as a sophomore. Nolan looks really good. And then, you know, we got John Sampson, we call him Cowboy.
Right.
John is, you know, even as a freshman, he got some work, and he's back at a defensive tackle spot for us. Secondary-wise, you know, you talk to Troy. I mean, this is he provides us a real stability there, and then both our safeties return in Anthony Carter and Gabe Molina. So we've got we think we've got guys that are pretty physical, and we're pretty solid there.
I mean, we're returning a lot of starters from our past year, and we had a really good year last year on the defensive side of the ball, so should be another good year with some experience under our belt.
Would you say the defense, I mean, at this point in time, is the strength of the team?
That's what it's looking like right now, yeah. Looks like we're going to be holding opponents to very few points this year. It'll be fun.
Our defense is probably our number 1, man. We got a great, solid junior backers in Christian and Thomas, and we're solid on defense. We could stop any offense that comes at us. Like that's our strength.
Offensive side, I guess people are the question mark is his quarterback. You lost Nolan to graduation. He was solid for you, and so you got 2 guys now replacing him. Huh?
Well, you know, we'll see how that goes. I mean, we've had great competition from spring on through the summer with both Gabe Molina and Anthony AC working at the quarterback spot. Interestingly, they both can help us elsewhere on offense as well. And you know, last year Anthony started for us at a receiver spot in some games. You know, they're picking up the system. I've been really pleased how much progress they've made in the last 2 weeks in terms of throwing the ball and doing the right things and making the right reads. And it's a process. They're both juniors. So you know, we go from a 2-year starter in Nolan to guys that you know, are going to have to get on-the-job training.
Well, it helps having an offensive line. I mean, the experience you have on the offensive line.
Yeah, I know you. I saw you taking some pictures, and numbers alone help us. You know, we haven't had. It's been a long time since we've had 12 or 13 guys that really think of themselves as linemen, and we do return 4 kids that started games for us on the offensive line from last year. So. You know, one of the kids that I think has already received some college-level attention is Big Joe Salcido over at the strong tackle spot for us. You know, he's probably the biggest kid we've had in our program.
Yeah, you can't miss him. Was he like 6'5"?
6'5", and you know, 260, 265. You know, he's related to the Winnewisser clan, so you know, he still has room to grow. Big frame and very, very solid. And then Keegan Araujo, but Keegan is a senior, you know, returning guard for us as well. And then you did speak with Jose. So, you know, we think we've got guys that understand what we're trying to do, and we've got to be able to not make mistakes on the offensive line and you know, give our quarterbacks the opportunity to grow.
You've been with these guys in the offensive line for 2 years now, most of them. How important is that?
It's really important. Get to know them, get to know people next to you, and yeah, once you get to know them, then it'll be a lot easier to play football.
Right. You don't have Brandon, and Brandon seemed like was the heart and soul of the offense. I mean, I know Jack said he's going to miss him, but you got someone to fill that role. And
well, it's interesting, you know, Bill, you saw Jack enough over the last 2 years. I mean, I think he would have been starting for most teams as either a sophomore and certainly as a junior. But for Brandon's presence. So this is really kind of Jack's time to shine. We do know that when he had the opportunities because of injury and so forth to step in, he was a force. And he's a different style, obviously, than Brandon, who is just, kind of north-south and, daring you to bring him down.
Right.
Jack's got some wonderful explosiveness. We also have Abel Gonzalez off our JVs. Abel's a workhorse type kid for our JVs. He had the one game where he ran for 441 yards.
Right.
So he's a tough runner too. And we think our fullbacks are really going to they're physical, and we've improved in our physicality there. So we combine that with line. We think we'll be able to run the ball.
But what about this offensive line? I mean, you got Big Joe up there.
I love my line, man. I'm best friends with all of my guys, and they've really come a long way. We got my buddy Jose, Cowboy, Jack at center, Keegan, and then Big Joe. They're studs, man. They're gonna really show something. You guys are gonna be like, wow, who are these guys? Because they're either my class or a year younger than me, and they're going to be a force.
You get promoted to the Tri-Valley League, so you say being more physical is really going to help you.
Yeah, you always worry about roster sizes in the Tri-Valley simply because of the physical nature of each game that you're going to play, and that's really, I think, what we've tried to prepare these guys for more than anything, both in the way we've practiced and the non-league stuff that we have preceding the Tri-Valley League schedule. We're feeling that we've got more depth. We've added about 4 guys to our varsity roster, so a roster of 32 is a big number for us.
Yeah.
But as I said, particularly in the trenches, having the extra bodies to deal with that physical nature of the league, I think is critical for us.
Push him, go, down, stick. Come on, Thomas. Come on, Thomas. Oh, nice, nice. There you go. Good, huddle, let's go.
We need to play really good competition in the non-league just to get ready for the TBL. And, I think our kids are excited.
Yeah, they seem to be.
They are excited and feel like we can compete in the TBL. And I think this is a good year for us to make that jump.
It's going to be a challenge, obviously, but we're up for it. We've been really preparing. We've had a couple weeks of 2-a-days, so I mean we're really in good shape, and we'll be ready for it.
How much did you guys learn from the loss last year to Sierra Christian in the semis? I mean, how much is that carrying over to this season?
That was a tough one. That's definitely carrying over because we felt like if we would have beat them, we would have been in the state championship game last year, but obviously we didn't get that far, so we definitely have a chip on our shoulder and we want to get to that next level this year.
Find the set, find that running back, right? Let's talk.